Down the road, pointing his finger to the side, the system announced that he had not driven away the refugees and had given them shelter. Men were walking behind the sergeant. The system announced that he had come face to face with a huge disaster and emerged victorious. The workers were watching Greg closely. Crowds of men were walking on the ground. The protagonist looked at the system window in bewilderment. The system announced that the residents and refugees of the county would like to repay him for the help he had given them. The young gentleman squinted at the system window, asking what kind of help and how they were going to repay him. A system notification appeared. The combined effect of the title, "People Who Want to Repay Him," has been activated. The young gentleman looked back in surprise. Then he walked to the window. The protagonist opened the window slightly, looking out onto the street. Crowds of men had gathered in front of the estate, raising their fists in the air. The men were shouting at Mr. Lloyd to give them more work, because they would do everything for him, and it was okay even if they did not have a salary. The main thing was that he allowed them to help him, and they would work for free. The men smiled widely, shouting that it was all for Mr. Lloyd. The protagonist looked at the workers in shock as they continued to shout. Then he pressed his lips together. The protagonist opened his mouth wide, shouting for them to be quiet. The workers looked at the gentleman in surprise. The gentleman narrowed his eyes and raised his eyebrows. He noted that it was hardest to believe when people did something for the benefit of another, much easier to believe when people did something for their own benefit. The men stood motionless with their hands raised. Lloyd asked what they were saying, that they did not need wages, noting that he had never given them anything for free. Lloyd frowned, pointing his finger at the workers. He told them not to even dream of working for nothing, and he would draw up a contract right away. The workers joyfully raised their fists in the air. The young gentleman turned away from the window, after which he walked away from him, wiping tears from his eyes. A bird was flying over the city. On the bird's chest was a small package. The bearded man opened the letter, saying that it was from the spies they had sent to the west. The spy wrote that this was a report to the great Sultan of Samarkand, and this is what